from the conservative side with two of our friendly liberals. Why don't we start with introductions?
I'm Bob Burns, Hopedale Board of Health, Hopedale Water and Sewer Commissioner.
And Ed Bertorelli, a member of the Milford Republican Town Committee, former chairman and state Republican Party official, and also, elected officer in the town of Milford.
Should we start at state level or the national level tonight?
Oh, the state, I think.
Okay. Election coming up.
We should point out we haven't been on, I think, since just before the town election in April.
That's
I think so. Not much has happened as usual on the state and national scene. I mean, we've obviously had the party. We had the Democratic and Republican conventions. And so there are three candidates running for the Republican nomination against Liz Warren, and then on the Republican side, for governor, Baker is running against Scott Lively, who's the more conservative, running the Republican primary. The interesting thing is the Republican primary, I think, is right after, both primaries are right after Labor Day. So it's going to be interesting to see
Day after Labor
Day.
See who shows up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, are there enough Republicans to have two Republican candidates?
Well, what happens is, in a sense, but what's going to happen is, like in the past, if Baker's campaign is smart and it's well funded, he'll make an appeal to the independents, the unenrolled, who are lean Republican, because a lot of people in both sides don't register as a party anymore. They prefer to be unenrolled, which is 60% of the vote, I think,
Right.
voters are unenrolled.
Because the Republican and Democrat parties in Massachusetts are often confused.
Yeah. So.
Well, no, but Bobby,
Ideologically.
with all due respect, I have to disagree, because when I came back to Massachusetts, I was a registered Republican. And John Fernandez, kid we grew up with, came to me and said, "How are you going to vote for me in the primary?"
Yes.
I said, "What do you mean, how am I going to vote for you? I've always voted for you." And he says,
No, you can't.
"No, you can't. Unless you're registered as a Democrat, you can't vote in the primary."
Or unenrolled.
Well, so a little while after that, he came and he said, "Well, did you change?" I said, "Yes, but I couldn't go all the way." I went into and I hate the term unenrolled, because it makes me sound like...
Well, the reason that is the case is that the Secretary of State, who is getting a long overdue challenge, didn't secure the independent thing from poaching. So what's happened is, in the state level, which is a scandal, because I used to work in one of the precincts as a warden, people adopt the word independent in something. So when people go register at the registry...
There's an independent party.
But I'm just trying to say they're giving the impression that you're... And so what happens is the poor people register in it, because unenrolled means whatever. And nothing.
Unenrolled.
Well, my point is, it feels like I'm not interested.
Yeah, but then you go to the election, and guess what? You have a big surprise, because there's no candidates on the ballot.
Right.
And so at least the moniker independent should be reserved.
I agree.
As something that people can't adopt.
Well, they can adopt it to run. So I could run as an independent, as opposed to...
But you'd have to be generally independent. But we're getting into the bushes.
Then you go down the Portuguese Club, and you ask for a red ballot, and they laugh and they say, "Oh, you're voting Democrat." And I was like, "Excuse me?"
That's just a color.
Yeah, but only Massachusetts would reverse the colors.
Yeah, but that's just the red-blue states, I think, with CNN. But yeah, to get back to what I call it is, so you've got...
I don't think any of the media today
most states don't even use
colors.
the system we do. So that's we've got a pretty primitive system.
Charlie's running with Karen.
Yep.
If somebody said, "Why are you voting for Charlie?" And I'll hold my comments for you in a second. Why are you voting for Charlie?
Well, first of all, I think he's been a consummate, performed as governor in an exemplary way. He's been honest. He inherited, which the Democrats don't point out, $1 billion deficit from Deval Patrick, who would rank, I think, even if you ask some Democrats on a candid moment, as a failure as a governor, because he didn't. One of the landmarks of his governorship was he didn't reach out to the Democrats who controlled the other houses. So, given that, I think he's brought the state back. He's worked well with the Democrats in the legislature, the lower house, because this always seems to be the way. It was the way when Cellucci was in. Cellucci worked with the Speaker of the House. The Senate president was the odd person out because they were more left wing. So I think he's given a myriad of issues that just the everyday humdrum stuff, transportation, education, and whatever. He's done an extraordinary job. We might want to take it for granted. And obviously his popularity is through the roof. There are elements that would say, that he is not conservative enough given the lay of the land. But the three governors two others that are simultaneous are the governor in Vermont, who's a Republican, and the governor in Maryland, who's a Republican, who deal with states that are
Well,
pretty
Maryland's
far
a
up.
state like Massachusetts,
Yes,
which is painted deep blue, and
And
yet
even Vermont.
And Vermont is socialist.
Yes, socialist.
Well, I was gonna say,
so you have a
isn't-
Republican
Yeah.
governor, Scott, I think his name is.
So, they're all
yeah.
chumped together.
So given that, I think it's a clear choice. He does have a primary opponent who did get some votes at the convention, but it's important to remember at the Republican convention, as the Democrat, you have the activists there, and it's skewed to the left or to the right from the actual voters. So I think in the primary, he'll do very well. The more interesting race is probably who's going to pick for the Senate. You've got Beth Lindstrom, Jeff Deal,
Yeah, but
and
before you run there, Bobby,
Yes, sir.
the governor's race,
Yes,
you're going into the primary.
I am.
Are you going to support the good Dr. Baker?
At this point in time, the answer is no. And I'll tell you why. Because I've seen Charlie Baker over his tenure, over Trump's 2 years as president, come out and attack President Trump. Now remember, President Trump lost this state with 1.1 million votes against Hillary. Charlie Baker won this state with 1.2 million votes. So there are more people that voted for Donald Trump than voted for Charlie Baker. He withheld the National Guard troops from the Texas border, New Mexico border, to help out ICE, which desperately needs help down there with the immigration issue. He came out after the election and announced that he did not check either box for president. Now,
so he didn't vote for Hillary or
he didn't
Trump.
vote for Hillary or Trump.
Trump.
But he didn't have to. He didn't have to say that. I understand the state he's in, and I understand when Trump takes a position that is contrary to the Democrat position, and Charlie supports it. He needs to survive in his state, but he doesn't need to walk out of the ballot box and say, I didn't vote for Trump. And to quote an old friend of mine, a brilliant political strategist, always said to me, Edward Bertarelli, Democrats don't do this stuff to each other.
Yep.
And he's the head of the party, de facto head of the Republican Party, and he is defying him. And he's defying him when he doesn't need to, when he doesn't need to make the points to defy him. This troubles me.
And by the way, that is a semi-good point, because the fact is, as Bob said, I've said it before, the only time you're going to get media attention from the media, which we'll get into the media in a bit, I mean, they've taken the gloves off. They've come out of the closet.
Yeah, but Ed, if he got in and said, I'm supporting Trump.
No, but let me.
Would he get anything above the fish line?
Let me finish. Is that the only time Republicans get a play is when they play against their own party. So because the media has this set up. As I said, every show, Republicans get asked when you stop beating your dog, and the Democrat, what's your favorite color? And that's bringing it down to the simplest level possible. But we see it every day at the White House and whatever. So that is troubling, because the fact is the Democrats are not going to return the favor. Am I waiting for Mayor Walsh to endorse Governor Baker for election? No. Okay, absolutely not. And he may have his machine not work for whoever the loser the Democrats are going to pick.
Ed.
Well, the two of them, no good candidate has come forward. Let's be. If a Democrat thought Charlie Baker was vulnerable, they're all circling.
Yeah.
They have a lot of politicians and too few jobs. Just like the guys taking on Galvin. I mean, for how many, after 20-something years in office or whatever, that they're hungry. Got the young people
But
out there
now-
who want to come in.
Did Charlie Baker live up to his Did Charlie and Karen live up to their campaign promises? He inherited an economy that was.
Yes, but again, yes, and they're coming from a position of strength, which sort of reinforces Bob things. Why have to say
Right.
some of the things he said? It's not like he's an endangered, scandal-ridden governor who's got to play the odds. He's actually in the driver's seat.
So you're saying you like what he's doing? It's just he doesn't have to go over the top.
He doesn't have to take shots at Trump. He doesn't. He's popular in the state. He's popular among Democrats. He doesn't need to take shots at Trump.
No.
So I say, my question is, why do you take him?
Yeah. Now,
You think that keeps him in office?
I don't
No.
think he. As I think I just said, I don't think he needs to do that. Whether he has an advisor or two that are saying this, I think he can make his own luck. He's a good enough governor without having to throw crumbs at the liberals, because as you heard from people on your show, they're not in any mood to ever vote for a Republican, no matter how far the Republican
But,
comes
I start
over.
Even if
looking
he
at
was a socialist Republican, they wouldn't vote for him. And let me tell you something.
socialist. Is that like a
An
giant shrimp?
oxymoron.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. For Charlie Baker to go to the Republican primary, okay, and have Scott Lively get 29% of the vote
In the convention, yes.
at the convention, that says something.
Yep.
That
What does it really say?
That should have been a wake. That
Is he getting 20? Just bear with
that
me.
says 30%
Is Scott
of the
Lively
people-
really getting almost a third of all the Republicans,
No,
or is
no.
he getting a third of the far right?
No, he's getting-
who show
no,
up?
that's
he's
not
getting
the-
a third of the members at the convention.
Who were
At
concerned
your
enough to go.
convention,
Yes.
At your convention,
Yeah.
a third of the members voted for the.
No.
But are
the
they
guy
really
that's opposing.
representative of?
Well, who's representative of the party? Who's representative of the party is who comes to vote.
Right.
Whether it's a primary, that's why I said at the beginning, this happened when Weld ran against Steve Pierce back in 1990, which seems forever. Steve Pierce came to the Republican convention and whooped Weld, okay? But Steve Pierce didn't have the money that Weld was able to do, and so in the primary, Weld, with Cellucci's help, because Cellucci was the political brains there, a great man, engineered bringing in a huge number of unenrolled independents who liked Weld, which everyone liked Weld. And I think I was at the convention. I heard Lively's speech. The man who seconded him is from Southbridge, Rod Murphy, who I've known for years. Cantankerous conservative, but a good man, very pro-life and whatever, very dedicated in that area. Lively touched on some hot-button issues, the gun issue, the very liberal social issue, and the fact that of what Bob exactly said, that Baker had dissed Trump repeatedly. And to that number of delegates, that group that had voted and supported Trump, it rang a bell with them.
So if the 1.1 million Trump voters that voted for Trump show up at the polls to vote against Baker,
Yeah.
he's going to be in trouble.
Which I don't think is going to happen. But
I mean, come on,
maybe-
let's
maybe not.
play that out. Okay, I'm annoyed at Baker because he took a shot at Trump. I go to the ballot box, and I'm going to vote against Baker?
yes, well, it's your right.
But am I going to do it really?
Well, again, we're
Are you?
talking we're talking hypotheticals here. Some of the inside players might, some might not. That's the way it would be.
So I'll go with liberal and put a liberal.
Well, who would the
Governor?
liberal be? The
Who would the
Democrats, you
liberal
mean?
be?
Yeah.
What if they vote for Lively
I don't. Well, that's
in the primary?
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about the primary. I'm not talking
No,
about.
then we're talking
okay.
about the general.
election.
But then we're
I was
talking
thinking
about the
about the
general.
When you
general,
go
because-
into general election, maybe I'll come out and say, "Well, I didn't vote for either governor candidate."
But I get what
Yeah,
I'm
but again,
struggling with
yeah.
is, okay, I remember Charlie Baker saying the economy is not as good as people are painting it. It's not a $250 million deficit. It's going to be a lot more.
Well, it was.
And sure enough, and he said, I'm going to bring fiscal discipline in. Has he done it?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Some of the social issues that may not really hit hard.
Well,
You reminded me of something. One of the critiques, and I can sympathize with it, not agree with it, is Maura Healey, who is, unambiguous as about she wants to be the next governoress, okay, is that he's followed her lead entirely too much for my liking.
Right.
And I say that with the greatest respect for Governor Baker. She is beyond far left. I mean, the Democratic Party that Lou Berdnazzi belonged, and even John Fernandez and others in the state, even Ted Kennedy is far gone, because they are now into things like make Massachusetts a sanctuary state, abolish ICE.
Right.
This woman who ran in Brooklyn or Queens or whatever, the socialist, left-wing socialist, is coming up and endorsing a congressional candidate in Massachusetts against Mike Capuano. Again, these people are coming from another zone.
I just read this morning or yesterday in the paper that a woman got arrested in Massachusetts.
Yes.
Because she was driving along and saw the car in front of her with some kind of Trump
Trump sticker on it.
a
yeah,
bump.
and she
And
she
she
rammed
ran
it.
the car
She rammed him.
repeatedly into it.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
and then went home.
Yeah.
But see that on a national level, the Democrats have raised that bar in so far that they've said it's okay to attack
A person in a
Trump
restaurant,
voters.
attack a
Well,
family
she
in a
claimed he
restaurant.
was a
Maxine-
fascist because
Look
he
at
had a
Ma-
bumper sticker.
Look at Mass.
Well, I can
Maxine
claim anything,
Washington.
but that's assault.
Right.
Well, isn't that assault with a deadly weapon?
That's what they got it for.
Is that what they got it for?
Isn't that what the National Socialists did in Germany? They attacked their enemies.
When I think of
Yeah.
a fascist,
Oops.
isn't that somebody who wants to repress other people's right
Left
of
and right,
speech?
left and right.
I don't care.
No, but it's left and right,
Yes.
period. Communist and
Right.
Nazi.
But they do not understand that they're fascists by definition.
They're self-justified.
Right.
If I'm saying I don't want you to speak,
But
aren't I not being a fascist?
Al,
Well, it depends
Al,
on
Al, when you
context.
believe that your cause is righteous, there's in their minds there's certain. I mean, let's get out of your mindset because you can't dwell on it. But I'll give you another one. I'm a friend on Facebook with a woman from Quincy. We were talking back and forth about library issues and so on, and she said, "You won't believe this one." She said, "But a friend of mine who's a 70-something-year elderly woman who's got a cane was parked in a parking space, and this car pulled up behind her, and the woman got out and started cursing her because she had a Trump sticker on the car. And the woman was old enough that she felt threatened by this younger person screaming and yelling at her. And then the woman just she basically tried to beckon for help, and the woman zoomed off. So, again, what did they do to Sarah Sanders in that restaurant? They
Right.
asked her to leave. Oh, okay. So that's not discrimination, I guess.
Do you know
See,
Sarah
I've got a
Sanders?
fundamental problem.
Yes.
When somebody says, because of my religion, because of whatever,
Yeah.
I'm going to refuse your entry, serve you. Because I sat there and said, now wait a minute.
Well, because of
what
your
happens when
political
somebody
views.
says, but
It isn't anything
what
else.
happens if I say my religion is
No, wait.
against old white men?
No, wait a minute.
Right?
Wait,
So I'm
wait.
not go- I
no,
don't
but
care-
don't,
well, wait.
let's not. No, but you can't universalize this. The only reason she was thrown out of that restaurant was she was a spokesman for
That was clean.
Donald Trump. Well, so
You're
it
part of
isn't-
the Trump
It
administration,
isn't.
you're
It isn't
bad.
any. Let's not get into something. This is just
Religion or
literally
some protected
if,
status.
If she
She's
hadn't
not
worked
protected.
there, if she hadn't worked there,
She wouldn't have been thrown
No.
out.
Now-
And she's the only press secretary in the history of this country that's had to have Secret Service protection.
Right, that I heard.
Okay? I mean, really?
now
Press secretary?
Now you get to
Yeah, but wait a minute. Hold on. Really? An American citizen?
yes.
Well,
I mean, I don't care what her job is.
But she,
Bobby, I may not
but
like
she's an
what you
agent,
say.
She's an agent of
so
evil.
I'll just ignore you.
According to these people.
I mean, I
Al.
like your wife. You,
Juicy-
I'll
Ju-
talk to her. I won't talk to you. That's my
But
right.
aren't you saying these are the facts we're saying about you? You seem to be like astonished by this. This is a regular bill affair with these
Right.
people now.
Maxine
No.
Waters gets up and has a rally and tells people, when you see these people out, when you see their
But isn't
staff
she
out,
the best person for the
Well,
Republican Party?
Yes, but you're Al. But
I'm sorry. I listened to that woman, and
But Al, what if one person followed her and believed her and did something violent to someone? Whether she's the best face or not.
Like shoot Steve Scalise at a baseball game.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
and with a whole bunch of ammunition to shoot more Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and it just so happens that there was a
Thank
there was
goodness.
a cop there, and that woman
But
shot him.
tell me you wouldn't, please,
Oh, yes.
tell me you wouldn't feel just as outraged if they weren't shooting at Democrats.
But wait. But
I would-
you know what I mean?
Of course.
They're
wait.
shooting at Americans.
But wait a minute, though. The point is, this is happening, and it's largely happening, and we'll get into the Russians in a minute, but it's happening. I defy anyone in this audience to put CNN on at any time of the day and night, maybe if they're doing the weather, or a hurricane report, or California fire report,
Well,
that
they'll
they are
still
not,
blame it on Trump.
they're not going hammer and tong against Trump. Now, someone might say this Fox News, but honestly, Fox News is a more balanced. They brought a lot more balanced people on. In fact, there's Fox News versus NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and CNN. And Jim Acosta, who I would suggest to him run for office because he certainly thinks he's running the country. A good friend of mine was a pretty, I'd say, common sense sort of person. Worked a lot of different jobs in his life. Said, you know, Eddie, the problem is the news media for all these years thought they were running the country.
Yeah.
And
now they are.
They would no, but they
Now
would
they're trying
no.
to.
They would filter and when someone challenged them, they came out of the closet
But
in
you
a
know,
sense, and now they're
I'm in
doing
the
whatever.
car 2 to 3 hours a day.
Yep.
I start out with Fox News, and then I flip to CNN, because I figure somewhere in between
Well,
is reality.
One American News.
yeah,
You still
Yeah,
haven't
I still
found it.
can't find that on Sirius Radio.
yeah.
Tell me what number on Sirius Radio.
I don't think it's on.
It's not, because I went looking.
You sure? Yeah.
It's
One
on
America.
TV. It's on.
Yeah,
It's on television.
it's
but
near.
Well,
yeah.
they frown on me watching television while I'm driving to work.
Oh, come on! You should have a car that be able to do that. But then you get to the whole thing
You
of
should be able to stream it
yeah. Then you get
through your radio.
Yeah. You get
the
to
television through
Yeah.
your radio.
Because I'll tell you, it's
How do you
interesting,
how
but
do you get your soap operas?
I don't. But I will grant you the point that it seems like there's more attention. I get tired of listening to Trump, 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 Trump. I flip over to the BBC.
But what about a story today? Okay, this is the main front page of the Boston Globe. I mean, that says enough. A story about a staff member at Smith College in Northampton who sees a black person, I believe it was a lady, sitting on the steps of the building having her lunch, and the administrator or whoever it was calls the police because it looked like the person didn't belong there. Now, that ranks as a news
Wait a minute,
story.
this is at Smith?
Yes, but let's go back to my point. That ranks as so in other words, culling the news for incidents of whatever, we've got to the thing where we cherry pick a story out over some person at a college who is probably in another world anyway, and things are built from this. It's the same way we have the stuff, and this is a sore topic. We have the media constantly attacking the police. Okay.
Right.
Constantly attacking the police. And then we wonder why cops are shot.
Right.
Well, but
Well,
wait a minute.
why?
Wait a minute. Look at what happened in Baltimore.
Well,
I'm talking about what happened in the
No,
Cape
but
this
I'm
week.
saying
how
is-
about what happened on the Cape?
Look at Baltimore, where they got all over the police, and they said, we don't like your techniques. They made the police pull back.
They ruined them. They ruined their lives, those
But they made the police pull back, and now serious crime shot up 30-odd%. And I'm sitting there saying,
shocking.
It's the people in the inner part of Baltimore
Yes.
that really paid this price.
Yeah, but the travesty was visited by a prosecutor whose grandfather and father were from Massachusetts in Boston City Council. I forgot her name because she's married. She should have been disbarred, removed from office. Every one of those officers was found innocent by a judge who was African American. One was dismissed summarily at the thing. No, but the point is, this stuff ruined these policemen's lives, Al. We're not of a situation where we can say noblesse oblige, but this stuff that's going on is ruining people.
But see, I don't care that the judge was African American.
No,
he was an American judge.
I'm just trying to say to you
All right.
that someone could say, well, it was in this climate, because someone could say, well, it might have been a white conspiracy or whatever. I'm pointing this out to show
Okay.
you.
Now,
That, I mean, I don't know if I'm. Yeah,
Did
well,
you
whatever.
see? Did you see today that the New York Times
I haven't
hired
read the Times today.
Hired.
an editor that is
Oh, yes.
anti-white?
The
hates-
Oriental woman with
she
all
hates-
the tweets.
She hates white. She admitted it. She hates white.
Well, I love the comment where she said, "Look at all the fun I can have by torturing old white men."
Oh my
Right.
God in heaven.
Now,
No.
I don't understand because
You don't?
That-
Well, I do.
how do they keep her?
They would keep her if a Republican made one error and undertipped in his restaurant bill, he'd be gone. I'll give you.
No,
I'll
but
give you an
Ed,
example.
Ed, if they said, "I
well,
really enjoy torturing," and they picked some other race,
But old
wouldn't
whi-
that person be thrown out?
No, of course not.
Absolutely
You know,
not.
come on. You
Absolutely
haven't
not.
seen what's been going on.
Have you been? Do you watch TV at all?
Do you remember the election where
News?
the commentators cried on the night
Yes.
Trump won? And now I'm saying right at the beginning, I wasn't a
The
I
Young
voted. I
Turks.
voted for Trump, okay, but he wasn't my first choice or even my second choice. But then they made it into a white conspiracy, talking about these Neanderthals in the netherworld. I'll give you another example of the New York Times. They said a Freedom of Information request, along with the Associated Press, which is again gone to the left, to ask for the emails of
Hillary?
the Supreme Court. What's his name? Brett Kavanaugh.
Brett
Oh,
Kavanaugh.
Brett Kavanaugh. Yeah.
Brett Kavanaugh's wife, because she was the town manager of Chevy Chase, Maryland. She was the town manager for a period of time. And the keys they wanted in her tweets were the word gay, and then all these political words. So in other words, trolling a wife's tweets at work or email. They wanted her emails as well. This is from the New York Times.
Right.
I mean, these are people that defended Hillary's loss of email.
Yes.
Right.
Apparently they can find those. Yeah.
I'm
So-
confused.
Yes, so we're in a situation, but let's get back to where they really stepped off the cliff, because I think if the Democrats, as you said about Maxine Waters, the Republicans
I-
should pay for a trip for her all over the country.
Oh, they should buy her TV time
But-
all night.
But the point is, the face of the Democratic Party is Liz Warren, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Maxine Waters. Now, where are the other younger, saner members of the party? Because there are plenty of talent in the party, just like there are in our party. But for some reason, these people get the attention. But my question would be, even as much as people might be a little upset with Trump, could an independent go in and say, Maxine, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer? I mean, they're a little extreme. And then they finally go over the cliff and talk and rant and rave about ICE. They want to abolish ICE.
Yeah, now help me understand something,
Oh.
because
Can I stop for
Okay.
1 minute? Can I ask you to stop calling them the Democratic Party?
Oh, Democrat Party. Okay.
Because there's nothing democratic about it.
Well, just using that old
but
term.
ICE.
I know.
Is the idea blow them away just because they're them and then replace them with the same?
No, it's the bugaboo of the week. You
Yeah.
know, it's the boogeyman of the week. Okay, ICE is the buzzword this week. 3 weeks ago it was kids in cages. You know, 4 weeks before
Yeah, but
that
see,
it
there,
was,
there again, I
it
was stunned because kids in cages, they use pictures from Obama's day.
Yeah, but they didn't mention that, did they?
Well, I'm confused.
They took the date off.
Right.
The
And-
cage
and,
picture.
and it was a demonstration. When they zoomed back, the cage was here, and the kid just stepped out from behind it.
Good
Well,
God.
no,
Pose
but
for
Bobby,
the
wait a
camera.
minute. I
was
never
staged.
heard there was a problem with these cages until now. But then when I looked at the background, it said these pictures were taken, not that
Well,
if
go-
Trump
keep
is
going,
using them,
keep
I don't
going,
like it.
keep
going.
But
Keep-
these
When
were,
were the
go to
pictures
your-
taken?
the pictures were
Obama was
taken under the
president.
Obama administration.
Thank you.
I rest my case.
But if he does something, it's okay, and if Trump doesn't,
And that was
it's
my
the-
problem. I sat there and said, wait a minute. Not that it's good, because I don't like it, but why is it so much worse
Well,
now
you,
that
you've already answered your question.
Let me ask you a question, Al. Let me ask you a question.
Silly you,
tonight,
Al.
Al. Let me ask you a question. When were the Russians meddling? What year were the Russians meddling in the U.S. presidential
You mean the
election?
Milford election or the
Yeah.
presidential?
The presidential election.
Allegedly.
You were supposedly allegedly
yes.
Okay.
playing Russian
what year,
comrade
what
in the
year-
Milford election.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
year were
I deny it.
Did they meddle in the American presidential elections? What year was it?
I don't remember.
2016.
16,
Who was
right?
president?
Who was president?
Yes.
Wasn't George
Who
W.
was
Bush? We
president?
can't blame him.
It
Say his
was
name.
Obama.
Obama. What did Obama say? Do you remember him on the talk show saying, I told Putin to cut it out, and he said yes. Do you remember that?
No.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
And you remember,
Right.
remember after he won an election, he was going to make up some big deal with Putin way
Right.
back.
Remember the hot mic?
Yeah.
Now this is my last term. After the election, I can be much
Yeah.
more flexible. That was swept under the rug. Of
course, that's
so,
right.
So the 2016, when Trump isn't even a candidate yet, we still got 14 candidates up on
We
stage
don't have any idea.
arguing.
He's a remote possibility.
Right.
as
Nobody
president.
thought. Nobody
No,
thought.
exactly. You're making a
Yeah,
point.
you know, did you see?
Jeb Bush is there.
Yeah,
John
did-
Kasich is
did
there.
Did you see the whole collage of people? Well, I can tell you, it's not going to be Donald Trump. Not going to be Donald Trump. On and on and on, person after person. So Trump isn't even a candidate yet.
And they're doing it.
And they're meddling in the election, and Obama does nothing.
And well, because he was
Yeah,
making.
but wait a minute. Wasn't this the same person who said, if you use chemical weapons, that's a red line?
Yep. And then it became a.
He reminded me of Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
when
yes.
Jimmy said, stop. And no,
he
please
was
stop.
Jimmy, he was
please,
Jimmy
please
Carter
stop.
on steroids.
Yeah.
But you know, again,
Jimmy Carter light, if that's possible.
it was the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot we can say against Trump, but I don't think anybody would take a threat from him the same way they took it from Obama.
Not even
Nobody
question.
takes a threat from anybody that wears mom jeans.
Oh.
Okay? They don't.
Well,
No, but
And throws like a girl.
stop.
Well, anyway, now that we've gotten all the
Now that
ladies
you've
in the
insulted
audience,
all the basic food
Oh my
groups.
God, we've got them all going.
Now,
but again, let's get back
From
to
an
the,
interesting
but let's get
perspective.
back to the point of.
did you help? Did you meddle in the Milford election with the Russians?
Oh, absolutely.
'Cause
will
I heard
say-
you were accused.
Yes. I was in Russia at the time. But as I did say to one of the people who
I got a
accused me,
postcard from
I
him.
said, the weather really, I was not going to say the graphic term I used, but the weather blank in Russia in the spring. It was bad, rainy and whatever. And the accommodations.
I've always said Milford's the center of
I
the
stayed at-
universe,
I
but I never
stayed
knew
at-
Putin
I stayed at the
would
Paul-
invest
I
resources.
stayed at the Paul Manafort suite. You know, it was great. But let's get back to ICE in a minute. I wanted to
Sure.
flag
But
this
help me
because-
understand what I'm a little confused over the whole idea of abolishing ICE.
Yeah, but when your premise is, Al, let's go back to all the shows we've done. When your premise is you want open borders,
Right.
period. That's their premise because, as I said before, there are a number of congressional districts in the United States of America where the majority of the residents are illegal. That's a fact. California, New York,
Ed,
Texas.
open borders.
Let me finish. This is, I sometimes I think politically you don't connect the thing. That open borders and these people coming in means these congressional seats, I'd say 24, and we can go, Bob and I can go through the atlas and look at it. Maybe even the one in New York that just flipped.
That's 23% American citizens and
Well, whatever it would be, but
77%
they're
not.
Yes,
And-
but
and-
they're
and-
counted as residents, which means if you're and they are all
So
Democrat
you get an extra
congressmen.
seat.
Well, it means literally that you're being reelected by a tiny percentage of the people in the district. So why wouldn't you be for open borders since this
Sure.
has ensured you extra seats?
And there are some districts where there's 123% more registered voters than there are people eligible to vote.
Now we get to the next thing, which
Well, is that a Mayor Daley thing?
No,
Come
this
vote
in
early and
California.
often?
No, that's a California thing.
now there's another thing which one of the city councilors in Boston who I think if there were facilities for mental health awareness would be in is there's the move in California to let illegals, non-citizens vote in school elections.
In local elections.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute.
In
The
local
most
elections.
sacred right, besides
It was,
the pesky First Amendment to me, is my right to vote.
but apparently not to them.
Well, my right to bear arms. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll take that third, but no,
Yeah.
I want to vote.
But Al, when
Right?
you get, but
now,
Al,
you take that away from me.
but when you give the whole picture of, I said, the open borders, the power that's done from these people voting, and now blatantly trying to introduce them into the voting system at local elections, what you see is these people, and also let's just take since it's a mere matter of human life, which I guess doesn't matter to some people, but the dozens of ICE agents who've been killed in the line of work. That's a sacred thing.
wait a minute, Ed.
And how about the
With all
dozens
due respect, that to me is just dang silly.
What's that?
To say, I'm going to give non-Americans the right to vote.
Well, they're advocated. Now, I got a question. Since we have a liberal and a conservative show and whatever on here, I want to hear, what's his name, Maroney, the candidate for running against Ryan Fatman. I want to know his view on sanctuary state status, and I want to know what he feels on abolishing ICE. Because
Right.
in the town of Milford, abolishing ICE is a real important issue because of just look around.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
Well-
abolishing ICE is a U.S. issue. If you really did open your
Sanctuary state is an issue that will be voted on by the Massachusetts. It was voted by the Massachusetts Senate. Ryan Fatman voted against it. If you make Massachusetts a sanctuary state and outlaw the police from investigating, and what do you have in effect? Baker. Baker, for once, said, "Don't even bring it to the desk," because that's so outrageous. But still, they're pushing the envelope.
That's
But
anarchy.
you can
No,
register.
but I'm asking you. When
Wait a
these
minute.
people.
This
when-
whole thing about sanctuary.
When these-
Now, if I decided
Yeah.
I don't like something,
Bye. Yeah.
no, but okay, I don't like paying taxes, so I can just decide I'm not going to pay federal taxes as a state.
We'll try it. Yeah.
What would happen?
Yeah. Well,
You go to jail. But
Okay.
let me ask you this. In Oregon, okay, ICE agents, their building is surrounded by illegals, okay? They don't want to come out of
Yeah.
the building because, I mean, if they come out, they're going to come out shooting.
Yeah.
They call the local police.
Yeah,
They're
now-
told by the chief.
and the police won't go in-
The mayor-
will
the
not
mayor
be-
directed them
The
not
mayor
to go in.
directed them to stand down. Do not help the ICE agent.
Why? Now, here's a silly question.
Now
Why
let's-
isn't the mayor under arrest?
So
Because thing again.
I'm
and by the
sorry.
way, and
No,
by the
but
way,
all kidding aside.
could I give you a question of which political
gonna-
party they're in?
who's going to
I don't
arrest
care,
them?
but-
Well, you
But who's
should
gonna-
care.
who's
That's
gonna-
the point.
who's gonna
This is
arrest
what the
them?
Democrats.
But there's my problem, Bobby.
Who's going to arrest them?
If there's a federal law,
Al,
your police,
Al,
you're supposed to protect people.
Al, we've just said before, we've laid this whole thing out. When you're self-justified with what they do, and yes, it's very important what political party they're in. He's a Democrat, and this is happening in state after state.
That's
where,
right.
where these things
But
are
I'd be
happening.
just as
And-
annoyed if he was a Republican.
But the point is,
he's a Democrat.
He isn't.
Right.
That's the point. Fine, you'd be just as annoyed, but find me one who believes that.
Would you be annoyed if he was an independent?
Yes.
A vegetarian.
All right. He's breaking the law.
But the
Right.
point is, you can't take them off the hook by saying I just be annoyed, and that's why I think it's an important question to ask the candidate for Senate and the local town committee.
Well, the whole thing about sanctuary.
Well,
now,
I'm just
my
saying-
understanding
Well,
is
again, I'm
I
saying
mean,
the third time I've asked
Tom
this.
O'Laughlin, our chief, has come out and said, I do not have immigration authority. I can't deport somebody to Rhode Island. So if somebody's a law-abiding,
Of course.
except for the fact they're here not legal, I'm not going to bother them. Now, if they break the law and they rape, murder, pillage,
But they aren't even. The point is, they aren't even doing that anymore.
How about this guy?
I mean,
last week that went to visit his 3-day-old daughter, left the hospital in Boston, got hit head on by an illegal that's been deported 21 times and was killed. Okay? His daughter now does not have a father because 21 times they deported this guy, and this guy's back
Imagine
in the
the-
country.
the number of the flight-
And the judge let him off with $1,000 bail.
bail.
Yeah.
$1,000. They reduced it from $35,000 to $1,000 bail. Do you know the Democrat district attorney said, I'm sad that,
Well,
that the judge has lowered his bail.
But the pressure is mounting to just take this whole category of laws and dismiss them. And in the major cities of America, which are almost universally governed by Democrats and city councilors, which are, again, like Portland, Seattle, Chicago, New York, they're moving more and more to
But
whatever.
again, when you start playing with the law, I mean, Bobby, I know
But you
don't like the Second Amendment.
Yes, but Al,
But look at Chicago. They're going to tighten gun control.
they already have the tightest
Well,
rules.
they have the tightest rules in the country in New York City, and 74 people got shot last weekend. All right?
That's
Good
right.
grief.
When you mess with the laws,
Wait a minute.
Well, what
I
law?
wonder how many registered guns there were.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of those were registered guns.
Well, again.
Well,
but,
you know, again,
but by
and
the way,
I bring back.
has
wait a
the
minute.
media said anything
when,
about
when
this?
the law passed about a trigger guard, okay, I saw, okay, I have to have a trigger guard. I went out down to Bass Pro Shops. I bought a trigger guard. I put it on my Ithaca. I wonder how many people involved in like illicit drug traffic and all went down with me and said, well, the law now says my illegal gun
Well,
used to
if-
do my illegal
if
trade
one
should
was
be
stand-
protected.
If one was standing next to you, they would have went, that dude's an idiot for putting that on his gun because it's gonna you need it for protection.
You know,
but
you know what I want to say? What I want to do? I have a solution for protecting all the schools in America. I have a solution for protecting every school in America, and it's this:
A bazooka in everybody's
no,
hands?
Absolutely not. A sign on the front of the school, out in front of the school, that says, "This is not a gun-free zone. Some of our personnel may be armed."
and trained, yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm the teachers. I'm not saying let's gather up the volunteers and everybody will be packing heat. All I'm saying is put the sign up. Just put the sign up.
Well, you see the.
Now,
how do
you take
feel-
your chances.
How do you feel about what we did in Milford? We just put $750,000 out of our tax money to expand kind of the rapid response team.
Yes, but I was concerned when the thing came forward that it will be limited to the schools, but it isn't.
It isn't.
They've even come into the library and identified safe rooms and whatever else, and also, even more importantly, come in and get the lay of the, like a school like the high school would take a day to figure out because of
Right.
the architecture of it. The libraries are small, the senior center.
You know, when I first heard
Good idea.
Chris Moran came to me and
Unfortunately-
said $750,000, my heart stops.
Well,
Right? But when I thought about it, I said, God help us if something happened. You call the local SWAT, and the average response is 45 minutes.
What about if you got teachers in the school that are armed?
well, again, but that gets into.
You know, initially, my visceral reaction is great. Then I got guns to shoot the bad people.
No.
But what happens if they shoot the kids?
Again, when you get into this discussion, we're into the whole thing of the violence in the society. And I want to bring this back again to my friends who are inciting on a national and local level
Yeah.
hostility to people who
But
might
isn't
back
that what
the
they're
president.
complaining about? That Trump, the fascist president,
Right.
is making racism and all
Right.
bad things. He's running cover.
Do you
Yes.
know? Do you
Yes.
know
Oh,
that?
Yet
well.
I hear that it's okay to run a car into somebody because they have a bumper sticker.
Do you realize that today, one of the leading black Trump met with a bunch of black religious leaders in the country at the White House, and a leading black pastor said that Donald Trump is the most black-friendly president in his lifetime.
Well,
Okay, you probably get one that says he's the worst. My
but
problem
still-
is
it's still-
it's his right to say it.
no, but wait a minute though.
You know what I mean?
But-
I have a
But-
problem.
You're missing the point.
I'll give you.
No, but
There were
You're
no
missing the
no
point.
disagreements here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
nobody said Alveda King didn't get up and say, "Oh, I take exception to that."
Yeah. First of all,
All heads were nodding.
if you go by the African American professional politicians who've been in office, many of the districts they've been in office for decades, okay, and we know from plenty there have a lot of been legal issues and political issues and everything else going on, but for the average person, African American person, the average white person, the most important thing in the world is to have a job.
yes.
Okay. Now, if you're a professional politician, you're manipulating the system in a job like Nancy Pelosi said the tax cut was what?
What, the crumb thing?
Crumb. Okay.
Crumb.
But when you're now here are these politicians who are allegedly leaders in their community, and black unemployment has never been lower.
Is it the lowest rate, Hispanic
and
ever?
along, yeah,
Ever.
ever. Now,
Lowest ever.
Now I'll give you an example of something.
Spanish population,
Lowest ever.
Yes.
Female population, lowest ever.
Yep. I'll give
Well,
you.
you know, I remember
Let
them
it finish.
talking
that doesn't
about
matter, but that doesn't matter.
the economy, how for 8 years we never broke over 2%, which is lethargic.
And what did
it could
Obama-
never make to 3.
And Obama said 1% is the new normal. Get used to it.
But now we're at 4%, and what I'm hearing everybody
4.1.
screaming is it can't stay that high.
Yeah, but again, Al.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I kind of like that it's there.
But Al, but the point is, when the media have already
Decided.
gauged the discussion that no matter what Trump does, there's something wrong with it. I'll give you an example. I'll get into a little one, the national anthem controversy. Dak Prescott, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, issued a statement saying, "I'm proud to stand for the national anthem. It's my honor, it's my duty, whatever, and I feel it's very important as part of being part of a team, being part of the United States of America, and whatever." He was then attacked by a columnist in either CNN or MSNBC, and another African American, saying that he was a lemonade-toting Negro,
Right.
acting like a lemonade-toting Negro.
I don't
And-
even know what that means.
and-
I don't.
enough-
I guess it just
I
must
don't
have
even
been.
know what
It
that
must have
means.
been something bad. I guess.
You know, step and fetch it. You know, get me some lemonade. You
Whatever,
know,
but again, it's still-
But you know.
But you know, I heard the thing about Kaepernick that he's screaming there's a conspiracy, and yet if I
Well,
was
let's stay on this for a
Yeah.
minute.
Now, another player from another team says he's bowing down to his master, was
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, who's the owner of the team. Okay, so essentially, what he's doing is he's saying that he's a slave.
Yeah.
He's calling him a slave,
Well,
bowing down to his saying what his
dear.
master wants.
So again, I guess if you're
Wait a
on the
minute,
wrong
wait a
side,
minute. I'm making $10 million a year, okay, and I'm expected to toe the line. And any job I work, if I got up, and I'm not making $10 million a year, but if I got up and made fun of,
we heard different. We heard different.
Close.
I made fun of my company, or did something.
Yes.
You know, I dropped my pants and shined the moon. I would be summarily fired because I embarrassed the company.
Let me ask you something. If you got up in a meeting and you denounced the United States of America, would you be fired?
Of course.
Well, you'd be transferring somewhere you didn't want to go.
We're not
Russia.
talking about something despicable like,
Yeah.
you know.
And by the way,
Shining a moon
And by
or
the way,
something.
and by the way, here's a man, Dak Prescott, a man, as in the best sense of the term, who didn't insult anyone who didn't do it. He said he understood why people did it, and he supported social causes, but he was proud to stand for the national anthem. That's all he said.
Right.
He didn't attack the people who didn't. He didn't call them names.
Because the fact is, if you're African American and you're not a liberal, then you are anything that I care to call you.
Remember, like Clarence
As a liberal.
Thomas.
Clarence
Like
Thomas.
Clarence Thomas. Holy
Watch
Cross
out. You're
graduate.
dealing with a Holy Cross boy
That's
there.
right.
Now you take. Now
Holy
let's go.
Cross
Now let's
man.
go to the
Oh,
Supreme.
I'm sorry. I call myself a Holy Cross boy. Had
No.
nothing.
Now
No,
we
but I'm
now we
saying
go
that
to
he's-
now we
he
go to
earned it.
now we go
Oh, God, did he ever?
now we go to the Supreme Court, and Ruth Gator Ginsburg just announced she's going to live another 5 years. I guess she's
Till
had a
the next.
she's
till
had
the
a
next-
conversation with somebody we don't know about.
Apparently.
The jury's out on whoever's
I
going
wonder
to
what's
live.
going to happen when Trump gets elected to his third term. If he
If
gets
he gets elected
put
to
in
his
for
third
another
term,
3 years.
I think the problem is there'll be a issue with him going 3 terms. You mean his second term?
Perhaps not.
Oh yeah.
No.
Here we go now. That's all we need.
FDR rides again.
The liberals will be on and go, Bob's advocating a coup d'etat and whatever.
That's not true.
No, but here
he
they
can
are.
resign 2 months in.
Oh, because you've been thinking about this.
But you know something? You're bringing up a point.
He can resign 2 months from the end of his second term and run for a third term. Because he has not completed 2 terms as a president.
When
But
you talk
anyways,
about,
this is very chilling.
let's
talk about
move
the
on.
Supreme Court.
I'm switching over
How do
to
you feel about
outstanding
the nominee?
Brett Kavanaugh. Outstanding nominee. Obviously, I saw him at the Florida recount in 2000. Not met him, but I saw him at a meeting. The Russians weren't involved in that election, by the way, just so you know. I was hanging chads.
paper ballots.
Yeah, yep. It
The
would, yeah.
old
But
way.
you know, I
couldn't
was-
fudge
so
them.
he-
I was
So-
pleased
Go
that
ahead.
Trump didn't pull somebody much farther to the right than Kavanaugh.
Let Ed,
Well,
let
let
Ed
me. Well,
speak.
wait a minute. Okay, but I got a question. Okay, this is what irks me when that conversation. Where do we ever hear much further to the left? We never hear that in the media. It's always the right is something. I mean,
I'm not caring with the media. I look at Kavanaugh and I say he's
Okay.
He's a tick to the right of center.
okay. And what would
I
be
like that.
what would be Ruth Gator Beta Ginsburg?
Beta Ginsburg.
Whoa! Whoa!
Left. Yes. Okay.
Excuse me. You call her a centralist?
No, I said lefty.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah.
But what scares me?
What would Sotomayor be?
Well, again, they don't even, people don't even know those people. No one
but,
knows.
You
no
know,
one
to
knows
me,
Supreme
I
Court.
liked Kennedy because you
Again.
couldn't predict him. He was
Well,
that. But
I
what
think he
worries
liked,
me?
I think he liked the limelight, though, which he
Well,
liked to
what-
be the split decision.
and I think he liked you.
Yeah.
When you think about it, I hate this idea of 51 votes get you, because what it
Well,
really
but-
says.
Wait a minute. Who started this? Harry Reid, when he did the nuclear option.
I'm not saying it's a Republican or a
Well,
Democrat.
but wait a minute. But wait a minute. I'm going to hang you up here. That's like saying all the mayors of the major cities, we don't care what political party they are, or all
No,
the stuff
Ed,
that's going on.
I like the idea of saying you got to do 60, because then you can't pick somebody far left or far right.
So they're gone. That's the days are gone. And if
Yeah.
the New York Times is going to the level of analyzing the poor guy's wife's emails, it shows you what we're at. So
Right.
hopefully she,
Hopefully someone doesn't
Now, is
come
that because
running
of
out of
the
the
Chevy
crowd.
Chase manager? It's a public position.
I guess so. Yeah, I suppose. So.
No,
I mean,
it-
if you do a
no,
FOIA, doesn't that-
No, it's because
Yeah.
if they can't get anything on her, they're going to look at his kids' tweets.
Yeah.
Okay? It's called dig for dirt.
Don't you
And
remember-
you know what?
Yeah.
If you dig enough into anybody's background, you're going to find
Well,
dirt.
we ju-
Because it might not have been dirt then, but it's dirt now.
Well, just look at Obama when he ran for office, the things he overcame. I mean, people talk about Donald Trump overcoming his obstacles. Barack Obama went to a church for 6 years with his wife and had his children baptized where the Reverend Wright was the minister, which would put it mildly a racially charged atmosphere. And yet, I mean, there's all these sorts of things, but Kavanaugh, legally and whatever is outstanding.
Technically, I don't think anybody can question him.
Yeah, by the way, the question is the law can be reinterpreted, and the thing is, people are now hanging their hat on Roe v. Wade and whatever else, but the fact is, advances in medical science and whatever. I mean, when Roe v. Wade was decided,
Right.
the viability of the fetus, if you want to call it, or the unborn
In the
child,
womb was questionable.
and it was a certain age.
Right.
It was a certain time. Now it's been brought back to advances, and also it's also been now that people can actually have images of the child,
Right.
which before was out of sight, out of mind. In a way, we can do something. So I think the pressure, not to choose life, I think is higher than ever. I'd say, especially in a good economy, because it's a thing where people maybe want to choose to have children and figure they can raise them in a way that's, I think, that's
Right.
the way I
I
look
mean,
at
now
it.
they can tell that at 7 days, the child has a different DNA from his mother, which no person can have two DNAs.
No, but when you start looking at some of the trisomy, sequencing,
Yeah.
you're getting down to weeks where you can find out, because the fetal DNA after, I'm not sure if it's
But see,
12 weeks, it's
but-
like 5%.
Again,
But let's get out of the weeds and get into the topic.
Yeah.
Abortion is a sacrament of the left. Okay? It's a sacred sacrament of the left. One of the most sacred sacraments. Even more sacred than taking all our guns
That's
away.
horrifying. Yeah. Okay?
And to them, they are going to scream that. Now, I just read an article today. In Massachusetts, when Trump stopped funding for Planned Parenthood, it was reinstated in Massachusetts because women were going to be denied health care because Planned Parenthood was not going to get their money. There's no health care that goes on in Planned Parenthood other than abortion.
Wow.
There are no
See, now,
ultrasounds.
there I don't
there-
understand because I don't hear that when I
Well, what about when they were selling the fetal material?
those if that happened.
Well, it
I'm
did.
amazed. Wait a
It
minute.
did.
Why didn't people go to jail?
Well,
Well,
Why didn't people go
why,
to
why
jail?
don't we do some and figure out probably why they didn't? I guess my question is the public. I sort of take a middle of the position. I find the idea of it horrifying, of abortion, but the general public, and I think most people understand, abortions to determine to prefer one gender against another are reprehensible. Okay, but they're done now in China and India.
China,
China and India widespread.
and in this country.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
number
done
one.
in this country against
that-
birth defects.
Well,
How
okay.
many times? How many times they say?
But let's just stay on what the public.
Okay.
They're for. It seems they're for the right to abortion with restrictions, and these restrictions are entailed. So you have one view over here, the sacrament of the left, as you say, which is unrestricted to any age, and over here you have a total ban. The public is in the middle on it.
But now, how is it that we have a law against any federal funding for abortion? So now you say Planned Parenthood only does abortions.
We don't have it.
What do you mean we don't? You cannot use federally donated
Well,
funds
they,
for abortion services.
They claim that they're a clinic,
Yes.
and nobody checks on them.
Yeah.
See, I find that hard because
Nobody checks on them, and do you know that they're not even equipped to deal with emergencies,
No.
and they don't even report. There's two things they don't report. They don't report rape, statutory rape, and they don't report deaths that happen in the clinic as a result of the abortion.
unfortunately,
Now, before we get to the end, I want to introduce.
We're done in about 30 seconds.
So
but
I want to introduce one more subject for your next show. The
coup d'état?
No, the mainstreaming of pedophilia.
oh, I'm sorry.
That is coming.
We have to
It's
go.
coming
All right,
like a
Bobby,
train.
Bobby,
Woo!
I think there's one medical treatment that I understand and would condone for anybody who hurts children that way. It's called a 12-gauge enema. I'm sorry. Anybody who'd hurt kids,
Well,
I have
again,
no sympathy
again.
for. Period. End
On
of
that
story.
note, I'm
Let me
horrified.
tell you-
Well, let's not.
Guys,
let me-
unfortunately,
there's
on
no
that
point in
note,
it.
I have to sign off.
That's too.
I want to say
Yeah.
thank you to our 6 loyal viewers, the conservative
Could be
viewers.
5 today.
Could be 5. It's always an exciting event. Thank you for joining. May God bless, and may tomorrow be a safer and better night than
Thanks for
tonight.
having us, Al.
Thanks, Al.
And we'll pick up there on the next show.
Oh no.
Not too long since I've been home.